Hello, ladies and gentlebeans. Continuing on with our overviews of DragonAge Inquisition's multiplayer characters. This one we are going to do the Assassin. Now, Assassin, obviously, as you can believe, is very much a damage dealer. Really quick attacks, has some amazingly high DPS weaponry available to it. Let's jump into to the abilities. So we have the Assassination Tree and the Stalker Tree. Stalker Tree, obviously, very much what it sounds like, more of your stealth orientated poisons and stuff like that. And your Assassination Tree is all about your damage and surprise attacks and stuff like that. And so they meld pretty well together. The two trees do meld pretty well together. So let's start off with the Assassination Tree. The first skill you start off with as the Assassin is Twin Fangs. You lash out with both daggers, striking deep with bonus damage if you flank your foe. So obviously it requires daggers. You get 2 hits, 200% weapon damage, a 200% bonus damage if you're flanking, an 8-second cooldown time and costs 50 stamina. It also does precision detonator ability if used on an incapacitated foe for a combo. It does quite a lot of damage, especially if you grab stealth pretty early on and you can get behind some of the more squishy enemies. You can take them out pretty much instantly. Especially the mage types when you're facing the demons and such like. They're pretty effective at taking those out before they can get their barrier up and protect themselves. The upgrade to that skill is Ripping Fangs. If flanking, your Twin Fang attacks will keep your target's armor sundered from the blow. So you get 100% damage bonus and an 8-second duration on the sunder for the armor. So basically you get an increased damage and you reduce the amount of armor the target has. First passive we come to is First Blood. You've learned to pick apart enemies that are still unwounded and unwary. You do more damage to enemies that are only lightly injured, so you get an extra 15% damage to enemies who have a health over 80%, and you get an additional 3 dexterity. Again, good passive to take, as I've said in the hunter trees and everything else that uses this ability. It's a nice ability to engage with to start off with. Very nice. Hidden Blades. They'll swear you leapt from the shadows like a thrown blade and hit your target with a flurry of strikes from every angle, but it's obvious that you were nowhere near them at the time. So you get 3 hits, 300% weapon damage, 32-second cooldown and a cost of 65 stamina. A lot of damage. 300% weapon damage, so long as you hit all 3 hits, then you get 900% weapon damage from Hidden Blades, which if you can get yourself a couple of nice daggered or dual wield weapons with quite high DPS, you can pretty much one shot anything with Hidden Blades, aside from the boss enemies, of course. Overkill. You use Hidden Blades faster and more easily, launching even more strikes on your victim. So you get a cooldown reduction of 4 seconds and you get an additional 3 hits. So like, if you don't take this skill as an assassin, quite frankly, you're stupid. Like, the damage is absurd. The amount of damage you can do is absolutely absurd with Hidden Blades, along with Overkill. So yeah, it's one of the skills that I'm going to start working my way towards after I finished messing around with the tree. Aside from this, I did have this previously, and my god, you can rip through enemies like nobody's business. It has got a long cooldown time, I will admit that, but it's so useful. It's so useful. It's unbelievable. Shadow Strike. You take your enemy by surprise with an attack they'll never see coming. If you're in stealth or have not taken damage recently, this attack's hit even harder. So it's original at 400% weapon damage. You get a stealth bonus damage of 200%. That stealth bonus damage also applies if you haven't taken damage within 5 seconds. It's got a cooldown of 16 seconds, which is quite low, to be honest, considering the amount of damage it can do. So long as you make sure that you haven't taken damage or you've got your stealth up and ready. Costs 50 stamina, and it also causes a combo when used on incapacitated enemies. Quick Blade. Shadow Strike costs less stamina, and when you use it while flanking an opponent, you'll reduce all of your active cooldown time. So has a cost reduction of 10 stamina and a cooldown reduction on everything of 4 seconds. So Shadow Strike along with Quick Blade is very nice to have alongside your Hidden Blades and Overkill, because obviously every time you use your Shadow Strike along with Quick Blade, it's going to knock 4 seconds off your cooldown for Hidden Blades, which is nice. Mercy Killing. When their hearts aren't in the fight, it's almost too easy. Your attacks on panicked or sleeping enemies are automatically critical hits. I don't see a lot of people putting enemies to sleep, to be honest. I've tried to use the whole tactical stuff on Perilous with the Hunter, going to the back and putting some of the archers to sleep and everything, but without a well-coordinated group, people just flurry anyway and they just attack everything. So Mercy Killing is good if you've got a well-organised group, so someone can maybe paralyse somebody, or not paralyse, somebody can make somebody panicked or send somebody to sleep before attacking them, and then you can go around and get your automatic or critical hit on that enemy. Cull the Herd. You do more damage to isolated targets, so a damage bonus of 50% and an additional +3 cunning on unlock. Now, isolated targets, I'm assuming, because it doesn't actually mention how it classes an isolated target, I'm assuming it's just a target that doesn't have like anybody within close proximity to them. Unfortunately, I don't see this skill or this passive to be entirely massively useful, because there's not a whole lot of wide open space, so the chances are that it's gonna not be useful less times than what it is going to be useful, if you get what I'm saying. That you'll get too many times where there's a whole bunch of people grouped up together and not enough people who are off on their own. Good if you're down to the last guy and you just want to get that killing blow on that last guy, but I'd save my point for this one and possibly take Deadly. So once she finds her mark, the assassin strikes quick, hard, and without mercy. So you get an additional +5 dexterity and an additional +4 cunning. Obviously, dexterity increases the amount of critical damage you do, and cunning increases the amount of critical strike chance, along with other things as well. Dexterity also reduces the amount of range damage you take, and cunning, I believe, decreases the amount of melee damage. I hope so. Yeah, willpower does spell damage, cunning does melee damage. A very nice skill. That additional +5 dexterity means you're going to be critting harder, so very nice skill to take there. Cheap Shot. Your critical hits tear through enemy armor, leaving it sundered for a short time. 6 seconds sunder on that, and an additional +3 cunning. Again, not one of the greatest passives in the game, but unfortunately it's on the middle column, so you have to take it if you want to go any lower. Cripple. Attacking an enemy from behind slows them for a short time, so they get a 50% speed reduction and a duration of 3 seconds on that speed reduction. You get an additional +3 dexterity. The only reason I would take this on the assassin really is for the additional +3 dexterity, so that my critical hits can hit all that much harder. The speed reduction is not all that great. If you're picking on one of the bigger enemies, then maybe it's okay if the mage pulls them first or something, or an archer pulls them first, and then you get your damage in to make sure that they don't get to them. But for the most part, I would only take this for the additional +3 dexterity that it gives you, rather than the speed reduction. The worst mistake your enemies can make is to let you see them flinch. Whenever you score a critical hit, you regain stamina. So the skill is called Looked Like It Hurt, by the way. Stamina restored is 10, and additional +3 cunning. Again, not an amazingly good passive. The stamina regeneration is pretty high anyway. I suppose it could be pretty useful because obviously if you're coming out of stealth, if you've got the perk in stealth where you always get a critical hit, and alongside the which one is it? Yeah, this one, the mercy killing, you're always going to score a critical hit on sleeping or panicked allies, so you're pretty much going to always get that 10 stamina restored, along with your increased critical strike damage from deadly as well. Unforgiving Chain. Your daggers blur a dance of deadly pain. Each strike adds to your critical hit chance. After a critical attack, your chain resets as you begin another dance. So you gain a 1% critical hit chance with every hit of your dagger, and you gain an additional +3 dexterity. And an amazing passive. Like, take this passive because the more times you can critical hit, the more damage you're going to do, the more enemies you're going to kill, and the more fun you're going to have. So dexterity also is going to increase the amount of critical damage that you do, so a really nice skill to have all around there. Throat Cutter. A wounded enemy is a perfect target. Your attacks are even deadlier against targets that are close to death already, so you get a 2% damage bonus for every 10% missing health. Again, probably not the most amazing skill to take. I mean, you're probably going to be hitting hard enough anyway for the damage bonus not to really matter all that much. I mean, against boss creatures it could come in handy, I guess, but again, probably the main reason you want to take this skill is for the additional dexterity there for your increased critical. Bloody Prey. Your strikes cut deeper into any foe whose current health is lower than your own, so you get a 10% damage bonus and additional +3 cunning when you unlock it. Again, this is worded a bit strangely. I haven't fully tested it out yet, but obviously some enemies in the game have a lot more health than you do anyway. For example, the boss creatures. So to get that boss creature at a low enough amount of health, this is probably not going to make all that much difference anyway. If you've managed to get him down to that low of a health, chances are you're already going to beat him anyway. But again, it's nice for those for getting those quick kills in, but not probably something that I would go for. I would go for the Throat Cutter instead of the Bloody Prey. Sneak Attack. Attacks upon a target's back or flank are much more likely to be killing blows, so you get an additional 24% critical hit chance and additional +3 cunning unlock. Again, increasing that critical chance, increasing that critical damage is pretty much imperative with the assassin to keep that damage spiral going. The assassin can spiral out of control pretty darn quickly. I'm sure you've noticed in the games that you've played, when you come up against the enemy assassins, when they pop up from behind you, they pretty much one-shot you, which is more or less what the assassin does as a playable character. Spinning Blades. You lash out with a set of slashing blows that bring you in and drive your target back. So you do 5 hits at 75% weapon damage per hit. It's got a 60-second cooldown and 65 stamina. This skill is a good escape, I would say. It's if something's coming at you, you're pretty low health, and you want it to get away, you can use Spinning Blades, and it will push the enemy back as you go forward. Gives you a chance for your stealth to cool down and what have you, and you can get your ass out of there. Never-ending Spin. The number of your deadly slashes grows when you connect with earlier attacks, so you get an additional 4 hits. If you connect with the original 5, you get an additional 4. Again, nice. It's a nice, as I say again, escape or waiting on those cooldowns to finish. It's a nice skill to have there. Death Blow. You lash out hard with swift and deadly skill, and then again against a wounded foe. So you gain 200% weapon damage. You get a damage bonus of 3% for every 1% missing health. The health threshold is 50%. a cooldown time of 8 seconds, and a cost of 50 stamina, along with the use on incapacitated enemies for a precision detonator ability. Not all that amazing because it relies on another foe being within close proximity to actually get the full effect of it, and chances are that a lot of the time somebody else is going to end up picking off that wounded enemy anyway, so you're not going to, a lot of the time, I'd say probably 50-50, you're going to get the full effect of Death Blow. The Thrill of Victory. Your strike bites deeper, and if it should kill your target, there's no cooldown on Death Blow. So you get 100% cooldown. You get 100% damage bonus along with on top of the Death Blow. So it's 300% weapon damage, plus 6% bonus damage for every 1% missing health. So yeah, it's nice when you upgrade it, I guess, but it's still, again, you've got that point there of it's probably only going to be used to its full effect 50% of the time. Onto the Stalker Tree. So the first skill you get from the Stalker Tree is Stealth. Obviously Stealth explains itself. I'm not going to bother reading that again because you've heard me go through that in the Hunter Tree before. So you get an additional 50% damage bonus while you're in Stealth. It's got a 29-second duration, 24-second cooldown, and costs 20 stamina. Stealth is like imperative. You get it from the start anyway, so it's not something you have to choose. But the upgrade, on the other hand, is something you do have to choose, and I highly recommend it because it makes you instantly go into Stealth and allows you to walk through enemies and other players as well. So if the other players got you stuck in a corner or something like that, you can quite easily get out of there and get behind that enemy that you're after. Ambush. While you're in Stealth and shortly after leaving, your attacks ignore some of your target's armor. So you got a 50% armor penetration there, a duration of 6 seconds, and an additional +3 dexterity again. Dexterity being the thumbs up here. It's imperative that you get a pretty high amount of dexterity on the assassin class, because those critical hits, as I say, keep them rolling and the assassin will just spiral out of control. Hook and Tackle. You hurl a light grappling hook at your target and then yank it as hard as you can to leap yourself to it. It's got a cooldown time of 12 seconds and a cost of 20 stamina. I've taken this purely for escape reasons. If I get into the back of a group of enemies and all the archers decide to turn around and start targeting me, I can hook and tackle my way out of there and trot back into Stealth and hopefully survive the encounter. It beats walking. You can use hook and tackle with no stamina cost or cooldown time. Again, pretty self-explanatory. If you can use it any time you want, then it's a great way of escaping, and also a great way of engaging if you don't have stealth or stealth's on cooldown. It's a great way of getting in there and getting that flank on the enemies. Or if there's one that's slightly out of the way, an archer that's slightly out of the way that you need to take out, it's a nice way to get over to him quickly before he gets 2 or 3 shots off on one of your squishy characters that could potentially kill them. Evade. You leap away from incoming attacks, putting yourself where you need to be to win this fight. So it's got a cooldown time of 2 seconds, costs 20 stamina. Again, as I said in the Hunter Tree, I would highly recommend avoiding this skill, or evading this skill at current times, because there are certain times when you join rooms where the latency is ridiculous and you can bounce all over the place, and using evade will just basically, it will jump you out of the way, but it will just rubber band you back to the spot where you were. So I'd say probably 80% of the time this is more harmful than what it is actually good. Same with the upgrade to it. I mean, the weapon damage is nice, but it could potentially kill you more times than what it actually saves you. Easy to miss. Enemies are likely to overlook you in combat, much to their regret. This is especially true if you're flanking them. So you get a threat reduction of 25% and a flanking threat reduction of 100%, and an additional +3 cunning. Again, pretty much an imperative skill to take as the assassin, because you're going to be pretty much constantly flanking. So all that threat that you should be gaining, you're not going to be gaining any of it because it's reduced by 100%. So it's pretty much an imperative skill to take as the assassin. Bloodthirst. You move faster when you're near enemies with low health. So when you're within range of 10 meters and the enemy's got a health below 35%, you get an increased speed bonus of 50%. And a critical hit chance bonus of 10%. Again, that increased chance to critical hit, and big thumbs up. And the Constitution doesn't help either. It does help as well, giving you that additional bit of health as well, just to make sure you can stay in the fight a bit longer. Evasion. They can't hit what they can't see. Your deceptive fighting style gives you a chance to dodge enemy attacks, taking no damage. So chance to activate 5%, and you get an additional +3 dexterity on unlock. I honestly think, again, like I've said in the Hunter Tree, that the chance to activate is so minimal that it almost seems not worth the point. The point may be worth the additional +3 dexterity, however. So if you've got a spare point, if you've got a point spare and you're wondering where to put it, then this may be a passive to take. Dance of Death. You regain stamina with every kill, the better to continue your assault. So you gain 50 stamina back whenever you kill an enemy, and you gain an additional 3 dexterity when you unlock this passive. The stamina restoration is nice. It's a high amount of stamina restoration, so pretty much you can keep spamming your abilities over and over and over again. It's nice to have that stamina regeneration, but it obviously also relies on you killing somebody and not you taking like 99% of the health, and that pesky archer in the back just takes that last hit. So always make sure that you know who you're going after, and your team knows who you're going after, so you get the most out of this passive. A flank attack. You leap through the shadows to attack your foe with deadly strikes that hit them from behind. So it's 2 hits at 200% weapon damage, so 400% in total. A cooldown time of 8 seconds and a cost of 35 stamina. It's nice, but again, not probably as nice as the skill in the previous tree. I've completely forgot what it's called. This one, Hidden Blades. Hidden Blades seems to be much better, even though the cooldown time is extremely higher than what it is on flank attack. Hidden Blades seems to be the way to go rather than the flank attack. Unfortunately, the passive after this is too good to pass up, so you may want to just take the first in flank attack just to get to the passive after this. The upgrade to this is Skirmisher. Before your target turns to face your blow, you move it to stealth, impossible to find. Now, even though Skirmisher is, even though flank attack is pretty much overshadowed by the skill on the previous tree, the Skirmisher, the upgrade to it, is pretty decent. Being able to go straight into stealth as soon as somebody turns around is potentially a lifesaver for you, and the passive after this highly relies on stealth as well. Knife in the Shadows. You are a deadly threat to an enemy that can't see you coming. When you attack from stealth, you automatically critically hit. So yeah, and you gain an additional 3 dexterity as well. So again, increasing that crit strike chance, crit strike damage even. In my opinion, get this passive as quickly as you can, because again, like I said, the more you can critically hit, the more damage you're going to be doing, the more you're going to steamroll, and the more kills you're going to be getting. And them imaginary trophies, them kill streak numbers that pop up on the screen are going to start racking up once you start being able to just muller people from critical hit after critical hit. Poison weapons. You coat your weapon in deadly toxin, making every attack poison enemies for a short time. So it's got a 10-second poison. It does 25% weapon damage per second. It has an 8-second damage duration and a 24-second cooldown time. Costs 20 stamina. It's not the greatest of skill, in all honesty. It's a nice dot, but there are some enemies out there that are immune to poison. Obviously, a lot of the demons are immune to the poison status as well. So it's probably going to be one of them things that's only going to come in useful in a handful of situations. And to waste an active on poison weapons might not be the best idea. Infected wounds. Your poisons Your poisons help your blades and arrows bite deeper. You do more damage with your weapons while poison weapon is active. So an additional 25% damage bonus to your weapons on there. Maybe this might be the only reason to take poison weapons, to get that additional 25% bonus damage on your weapons. But again, like I say, there are enough skills in this tree to take that do a ton more damage than what poison weapons does to warrant poison weapons actually taking up one of your 4 skill slots. Explosive toxin. Your poisons curdle the blood of your target's enemies that die. Enemies that die while poison explode in a shower of toxic mist. So it's got a duration of 8 seconds, a radius of 3 meters, and does 50% weapon damage per second. And you get an additional +3 dexterity on unlock. If you're going to go with the poison weapon approach, if you're going to ignore what I've said previously to poison weapons, then obviously take explosive toxin, because if you do manage to kill someone with your poison weapons, then you get a ton more damage out of it to enemies within the area. So if you're coming down the tree, if you've got a few points left and you're wondering where to put them, and you think, sod it, I'll take poison weapons and maybe get rid of flank attack or something like that, take poison weapons, but always make sure that you've got at least 3 points spare, so you can take poison weapons, the upgrade, and explosive toxin as well. You really want all these together, and not just one, and not just the poison weapons. Fallback plan. You place a thieves' lanterns to mark a fallback location before heading into battle. When the fight gets ugly, you can leap back to safety as you're healthy as you were when you placed your marker. So it's got a 15-second duration, a cooldown time of 32 seconds, and a cost of 35 stamina. Fallback plan, while it's at the bottom of the tree, is not all that useful, in all honesty. I found while playing the hunter, because you get fallback plan as one of your first skills, it's really handy at the lower levels, but as you start building your power up and getting better and better, that fallback plan ceases to be a viable option, simply because there's skills on that, the skills that can be used that actually deal damage on that bar, rather than pretty much being useless half the time, because it relies on you hitting that mark at exactly the right time. And if you take a couple of hits and you fall back, the chances are you're going to take them 2 hits again once you fall back. It's very situational. When you get later on, it's probably worth taking more of the damaging abilities rather than this. Bait and switch. You can fight for a longer time before leaping back, and you pull your closest enemy back with you. So got a duration bonus of 5 seconds, extended duration bonus of 5 seconds. Again, I've never taken bait and switch, not even with my hunter. I don't feel like I should have to pull an enemy back with me, especially if it's an archer, because them guys hurt like nobody's business, and they could pretty much probably kill you before you even have a chance to actually realise what's going on once you've pulled that enemy back with you. And if you pull one of the big guys back with you, you're pretty much screwed anyway. I was never here. You have learned to use the distractions of enemies' death to slip slightly into the shadows. Killing the target removes any cooldown on stealth. Really nice passive. Again, works very nicely with your flank attack and your skirmisher. You can pretty much stay in stealth like 90% of the time while if you've got the skirmisher skill here, you've got I was never here and everything like that, and it's really nice skill to have. Really nice passive to have. And Fighting Dirty. All of your sunder and poison effects last longer as you make more potent toxins and uglier wounds. So you get a duration bonus of 25% to your sunders and your poison effects, and you gain an additional +3 dexterity. Again, probably not worth taking unless you're going the whole poison weapon route and everything like that. If you are deciding to go, I'm going to have a go at the poison weapon route and go with poison weapons and explosive toxin, make sure you can get this as well, because it's going to help. It's going to help a whole bunch. That additional 25% duration on the 10 seconds is going to do a hell of a lot more damage than what it originally would have intended to do. So that's the assassination tree, the assassin tree even. These are her blue armors. Go into the inventory. That's her elite assassin's mantle. So her original armor looks something like that. And then you craft the elite assassin's mantle which looks something like that. She has a little mask on the back of her head, which you can't see. I will say that her VO, her voiceover, is really annoying at times. So be prepared for that, because obviously you can't turn that off. So be prepared to be quite annoyed with her a lot of the time. Alright, so that's the Assassin. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you found the video informative. Please check out the previous videos that I did on the Hunter, the Templar and the Qatari. Please note that the Qatari's got an annotation on it because he is currently like completely broken at the moment. Like the armor that you give him does not apply to him at all, so keep that in mind before you actually jump in and play him, and just realise that he's complete and utter tosh at the moment. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.